Live from the Real Guppy Dockside Learning and Multimedia Center. It's the Real Angler Podcast with Community Kevin Brannon. Brought to you by AftCo Fishing Apparel and Tackle, designed to perform. Channel Island Sport Fishing, offering deep-sea fishing on quality sport fishing charter boats, and more. Costa Sunglasses. Discover life's greatest adventures with Costa. See what's out there. Daiwa. If you want innovation and quality in your fishing products, Daiwa has what you need. And now, here's your host, Community Kevin Brannon.
Good morning. It is me and Sergeant Bruno and Barry today, and we are here at the Dockside Learning Center. Our guest got stuck in LA, so we're going to jump on a quick one. The balloons lady.
There's a lot going on next week, and a lot going on now.
There's a lot going on, and there's a lot going on last week, and there's a lot going on. So just a quick little recap. So next week we will not be here. I will be in the nation's capital and the state capital in the same day. Monday I fly out for Chow, which is Chow is Capitol Hill Ocean Week. There we go.
That's right.
And then then I fly back on Wednesday morning to Sacramento for the Cal Chamber dinner that we were awarded for a nonprofit. Pick up a check. So I'll be out doing some heavy networking, man. And I'm kind of excited about that, to see first DC and, some new doors that could open up, and just being servants, man, and how far it's taken us. So it's kind of neat. So I'll be on the road next week. And then after that, we should go into the summer programming. We have a couple of dates set up with the city of Port Hueneme for some fishing days for the summer on some Wednesdays, since today is my last day in Carpinteria. We have our students graduating up there from our program. And over the weekend too, Scotty, we had our Oceans of Opportunity first cohort graduation too. So we gave out 4 plaques on Sunday at the pier. And it's just been a crazy day, man. We were at Lake Piru Friday night, and that was great. I need to share those photos. We caught like 4 bass. Got a little windy up there, so we got off the water about 7:30. It was to go till 8, but we got 4 bass.
Are those the pictures you sent me?
I think so.
Yeah, they were cool. You were having a ball.
It was pretty good, man.
Nice smile on his face.
Yeah. The only thing, so I thought I had a tent here at the Dockside Learning Center in the storage bin, and I took it to my real storage. So I had my blankets and a pillow, and I thought I'll just nap it out in the bed of my truck. It was a little chilly up there, so I didn't sleep very well. And then I tried to climb in the bed, but by the time my feet were cold, I kind of just stayed cold. So we got up at like 6 o'clock and packed up our stuff, went and fished for about an hour. But besides that, the event itself was cool. But I tried to tough it out there in the cold, and that was it. I didn't get much sleep. So then we came here on Saturday. We'd had a grilling and chilling day where we cooked burgers for some of our staff, and one family showed up from the Oceans of Opportunity. Our students, we just got off the phone with Upward Bound for the next round of internships, and they because they're seniors, man, so they're about to take off. So they're doing some senior projects that they get a chance to do Saturday, so they weren't here, which is cool. So this Friday we get to go give out the last couple of plaques to Emmanuel and Viviana for their participation in Oceans of Opportunity, and then we'll get 2 new students coming in. And we were talking, the juniors a little bit more fired up, not as much on their plate, because we had those Emmanuel, Chris, and Gustavo were juniors last year, where now that they're seniors, the last couple of months are kind of important to them, very important, doing college tours and stuff like that, which is phenomenal. So, we know that junior year, we're going to get a little bit more dedication to the program, which is understandable. You don't need to be, I don't think you need to be working that hard before you graduate. You should be enjoying your last year as a senior before you get to adultism and all that responsibility, man. So, it's kind of cool to learn the system of, to get them to maximize the partnership without depleting a kid of enjoying being a kid.
Yeah, that's important. It's a balance, like everything else. Like everything should be a balance. Speaking of which, and I know you probably don't, but this man has been working so hard. He needs a vacation.
I tried to take a vacation, man, and it's work. So we went fishing yesterday, and it was fun. We filmed on the. I was scheduled to go on the Coral Sea, and I missed it by about 15 minutes. Once they figured everybody was there, because I'm a deadhead, so they're not me on the regular manifest, they took off, and I was like, oh, I'm missing it. We're gonna go, fish sea bass. There goes the sea bass boat, because normally the Stardust does more rock fishing out there in the outer islands.
Okay.
So we went out there and looked for sea bass as well, because we had a light load of like 12 people, man, and we ended up getting limits of sea bass as well. So I caught some sea bass. We filmed it, and then we got limits of rockfish, and then we had our kid fishing day on Sunday. So I've been at the lake. I've been grilling and chilling. And then I worked the gentleman on Monday for Memorial Day, and we went out and did some white fishing and sheephead fishing. I got a ling cod there too. So my refrigerator right now, I got ling cod, blue bass, and white sea bass all sitting there. So it's not, it's vacation, but it's work. But we're definitely getting a lot of content filmed. We're, staying deep in the fishing industry. We're preparing for ICAST. We have a fundraiser this Sunday coming up. So, it's a really good season. But the fortunate part about that, Scotty, is, with the probation partnership and internships, that we do have enough staff to start dishing some stuff out, plus some new board members. So
it's important.
We're going to be able to transition and have a regular Monday through Friday schedule with some Saturday work, man. But
very nice.
So that's kind of cool. So I'm happy to kind of, get there and do what we got to do, not miss the moment that we're going to be doing, but coming back and getting into our programming. So I hope not. So, but I'll give you a cool part. So, and then on Friday or Thursday, something like that. No, Tuesday, we were with this YES organization, Youth Equity Summit,
Okay.
and we're partnering with these other orgs that are throughout Ventura County. And there's definitely a younger vibe going on. There's a lot of people retiring, even the director, Aaron, or the chief of probation is going to be retiring, but they're left behind this new model of hungry individuals to making an impact and a difference in these young organizations. So I'm sure we'll have a really good partnership in the work that we're going to be doing to focus on programming for the next couple of years. So that was pretty neat, man, to see that happening. So we can focus on programming, come this far, working hard. But they told me, Kevin, make sure you compensate yourself, because, I am putting in some 60-hour weeks and making sure that I don't get burned out and that I'm taken care of. So, I definitely it's financially stable at the same time.
You got to be, otherwise, like you said, you're just burning out. And so you got to do what you got to do and make it work and keep the fires hot, because the fires are hot right now.
Yeah. So we try to, and then on the downside, everything's not always a great day. We found that we were trying to, we submitted an application for this art grant, but we didn't get it. So we're going to send an email to them and see why we didn't get it. Same thing happened with Whales Tale the first time, right? Sometimes when you're a new kid on the block going into this area and writing, and this was for art based, utilizing film art and then a collaboration with musical art to combine to make a collaborative effort, so our National Geographic Discovery videos that we're putting together right now have a good music to go with it, a good cinematic, and then we could highlight music. So we have an email with them. So we didn't get it this time, but we want to follow up with them to see how could we, strengthen our application for next year, maybe continue to send them through communication efforts, projects that we're working on, so that if we get the material that we're looking for, and what we're looking for was some new cameras and some audio equipment, but we have a partnership with Caps in Ventura.
That's big.
So we do have equipment we could use, but it'd be nice to have our own.
Sure.
At least we have an outreach to start getting into that. And that's some of the next focus when we come back to is the art side of our educational program.
Now you said you've done that before. You sent a letter before. Do you typically get a response that's helpful? Do they give you answers to your questions?
You set up a Zoom call, so you could ask them directly.
Oh, okay, it's even better. Okay, so
you send out a request for like a phone call.
So you have a conversation with them then, and they tell you what things you need to strengthen in order to, or what things were not to their liking or whatever. That's a very interesting way and smart to do that.
Yeah, we did that with the Whales Tale grant that we got a year ago. It's about time to apply for that one too. I should type that into our grant writer right now as we're talking. But
he's going to do that right now.
Part of it is
on his way to Carpinteria, so we got to do it all at once.
Yeah, today's the last day of Carpinteria, man, and those kids are graduating. We're giving out plaques, so giving out leadership plaques, for that is very impressive. And I know that we're gonna. And one thing that we want to make sure we don't do is overcommit to a grant to get funding that doesn't really sit in our wheelhouse as much, and then also strategizing on that. So.
But they've been great. The Carpinteria thing's been wonderful for you, right?
Yeah, hopefully they're going to try to get me in fall this year and not wait till summer. There might be some Department of Fish and Wildlife funding for that
I know the kids love it.
Educator. Oh yeah,
yeah.
And the parents love it and the teachers love it.
And everybody's learning something. And I mean, everybody's learning something. Even Kevin learns something when he goes out there and does that.
Yeah, you always got to be learning, man. Either how to speak the dialect, and speak the lingo and how to talk to them, and see what's hot in the school too. Again, is it is it career opportunity? Is it an enrichment program? So that way, when you do put your MOU together, that you could cover these things. So part of what we have for our strategic plan and our impact report, my friend, is this other aspect that Melissa put together for the grant that I got from Cal Chamber that shows the 4 pillars of our work, so that you could draw from that and say, okay, well, this is the enrichment side. This is our career development stage that we have, like Upward Bound, that we've proven with other teenagers that we have this business development skill and the life building skills and transferable working skills.
That's the key.
That you could put in there to become a vendor for the future.
Yeah, that's all good. And that's I'm glad to see things driving forward. It seems like they're all driving forward at once, which is good on one hand, but I know that it's exhausting for you on the other, even though exhausting this guy is pretty much impossible to do.
Yeah.
But
you know what though, today I slept until 7. There's some days I do. It's funny. I was talking to Derek and he's like, why don't you get out on the boat? And I'm like, no, because I got to pace myself. If I know I'm going to go for about 5 or 6 days, then, our boat can rest. And then Carlos, where our boat is at, he was like, you need to bring your boat down. Hasn't been getting out as much. And I was like, don't wear out to rub it in, like I know I need to be out on my boat at least once a week doing some of this survey, some of this work. But again, once we get back and our fundraiser's over on Sunday, we got about 6 tickets left too. I got to type that up tonight to see all the table seating and arrangements. And speaking of table arrangements, just got off the phone with Cal Chamber to see about inviting my brother. I'm sure if you watch the videos, you've seen plenty of Ross Rebel music in the episodes. I just put him in the new video that I'm editing up from Pyru. It's already almost done.
Nice.
And that On a Clear Day video is playing throughout that. And then again, so to make it full circle, there was some very windy wind gusts that kicked up on the lake. So some of the interviews got burned out by it. So that's why we needed those microphones. So that way we can get clear audio when we're out there. But, maybe some, like we have these cordless ones that we could attach to it so we could connect it and I could just hand it to the person while they talk and they could hand it back.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. And they make those with the windbreakers too, the
right.
little wind sponges on them.
So some investment ideas of what we're going to look for. But then it also gives us an opportunity, Scotty, what we're going to do when we get back in. And the reason I'm telling you guys this, some of this is more like a business model. We'll call it this podcast,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Is your strategies that you do have. So when we do get back and we have some donors that are throughout Ventura County, besides just grants, maybe you find philanthropists through the foundation of Ventura County that we can invite down here, take them on the boat, show them a video to let them see it and get some funding from somebody that sees the value of what we're doing directly to give you a little bit more. Your funding source could be a little bit more unrestricted, and we've had plenty of those come in. So how do we strategize? We just haven't targeted them as much as we have grant applications or
right.
banks or going back to the well of our database to say, hey, these people donated before, reoccurring. Let's branch out now that we have our strategic plan mixed in with all the different organizations that we do provide for Autism Society, battered women shelters, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Like, look at the array, troops, general public, high school students, junior high school students, to showcase all the work that we do. And that's something that we have on full display now, is to begin to showcase all the work that we do at the Dockside Learning Center with Real Guppy Outdoors and the Real Angler Network multimedia side to look for some other type of support so that we could continue to hit our benchmarks,
I think that's wise to expand that, because there's so much that goes on here. And, sometimes you get locked into the Real Anglers title of it all, but it's more than that. That's why Community Kevin came into play, because Community Kevin is a better representation of what is being done here.
When we went to so it is the 60th year anniversary for the harbor. So we were down there last week for something else on Tuesday, was the commemorance of that, and the city of Oxnard was there, to give Michael Tripp, and he'll be a guest here. So Michael's going to come in and tell you about what's going on down here in the harbor for the 60-year anniversary.
That'll be great.
And also the development with like Carl's Land and the other stuff. I know that there's some new developers that are buying dock slips in areas in the marina to make them nicer, and they're doing some repairs on it and things like that. So how do we kind of modernize this beautiful harbor that's kind of been neglected? So he'll be here in about a month.
Looking forward to that very much.
To do his interview, so to be down there. But one of our lovely partners from HBCA, the lady showed up and they had a big old QR code for donations, and they were helping. But the lady said up there specifically, Kevin doesn't just, take these kids fishing. She went down the list. So when you see people advocating for you and talking on your behalf, man, there's nothing, that makes you feel better than, they yelled her name out like 3 times during that. And then we were at that YES meeting too, how many organizations that we are. So again, you could see the pathway opportunities that we're providing. And again, having staff and being able to do that, when we get back, we could focus more on the programming besides just resource development. But you still need to develop some more resources. We're going to look at interviewing a sales guy today, Kevin Jr.,
nice.
To talk about, the brand itself and again, our children's workbook and our merchandise. We went in with Morale Matters, our marketing company, man, and they came in and laid out a pretty good deck, 2 of them, one business and one marketing, and then a plan on if you applied X amount of hours, a little algebra, right? And Kevin Jr. himself, and he's inheriting something he's been preparing his childhood for the brand, but he's also taking business courses at the college while he's playing football. So it's part of what he's already doing. And I see the kid selling stuff he buys in one site and sells it at, meets somebody in a marketplace and selling. So I know he's got a little sales genetic, but to lay out the right tools to give him that we talk about, if you hear us talk about the right tools that we have, that's how we could be successful. So
it's too bad he wasn't at the Morale Matters meeting that we all had here, because it would have been perfect.
And that's cool.
Yeah, I know. He made the right choice. I'm just saying it would have been nice if he could have been both places at once, But
here's the cool thing about it. We could set up a time for Kevin to go get a one-on-one meeting with them. So we could reschedule for him to go down there, and they could go over with him for another hour like they did here. Yeah. Really get that personalized time, because I'm sure there's questions that could have been asked as them kind of teaching, but to get that one-on-one time for him to ask questions on a solo could still, even if he came that day, I'm sure,
I think that's
you still want your sales guy to go in there and get it. And then on another tip, I just sent the email, Scotty, I had him waiting, was that we have a partnership with, I don't know where that book's at, through ASA, American Sport Fishing Association, for these modules. So I just sent her an email to all of our employees so that they could start logging in and learning about ICAST before we get there.
Oh, smart.
And start knowing your target audience and demographics. So we have all these wonderful oceans of opportunity ways for our team to develop, man, So I'm excited. Again, so if I'm exhausted, I think about other guys that are up there and think, okay, if you built a brand, let's say one of my favorites, is AFCO, right? The Shed family and how long they've been doing it. And you have Casey Shed right now that is, son of Bill Shed and their grandfather, and moving it up, and how he came in and helped. But I'm sure when they started, dad or grandpa was putting in them countless hours, carrying around a briefcase, and making all those things and at 45 years old, 40 for the fifth time, that's what you should be doing if you're really going to try to develop a legacy and something that's going to have an impact, for 20 years in an industry, whether it's education or fishing, where I set my standard at a long time ago. But yeah, I'm sure the founders and the originators of those brands had to go out and, stay out of motels and door-to-door salesmen back in that era. Remember that era of guys selling vacuum cleaners or these other things, and sales was a huge part. And,
creating
nothing's new, but it's just a matter of, again, how do you equip your sales guy or equip your team to go out to do that? And I'm just happy that we're able to solidify some partnerships, and professional development is always a part of what we talk about, right? So showing that, seeing that, that we have those resources, whether it's marketing, campaign adding, how we're doing it. It's good for me I appreciate seeing it that way, man, honestly.
And on a completely separate note, today is National Hamburger Day, and Wagon Wheel Brewing has absolutely delicious hamburgers. They're tied in with the Morale Matters people.
Yeah, they're the owners.
Now I'm thinking, maybe I'll make a stop there today.
You should.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to make a reference to the Ooey Gooeys. Yesterday on the boat, man,
the Ooey Gooeys aren't available today, otherwise.
I had a Mega Mouth burger on the boat yesterday. Mega Mouth burger, we got it on video. It's a 2 grilled cheese sandwiches with a double bacon cheeseburger inside and grilled onions and a fried egg. So, but I only ate half. I split it with the lady that worked in the her name's Cass. She works at the landing too, and she came out fishing. And fishing was good yesterday, man. I hooked 3 sea bass and I handed off 2 to get caught. So I got my 1 for my limit, and then I hooked 2 more and passed them on to 2 different people to bring in a sea bass. So we got our limit yesterday, and that was cool. And then got it on film. So I told her, if you want to split, because I wanted to get a video. We've talked about the Mega Mouth, you've heard about it?
I've heard it, yes.
So I wanted to get a little video of the Mega Mouth, man.
Got to plug that into one of those shows. So maybe here. Maybe we'll plug it in here.
Yeah, I'm about to plug in all those drools all over the floor. And then I did have a burger. We had burgers here, but I made some chicken burgers too over the weekend, trying to stay on my healthy tip. Grinding, I missed a couple of days, but I guess today's just kind of like an authentic business kind of a podcast, to realize, that you might get exhausted chasing your dream, but you know what? When I was summertime in pest control, I was exhausted at 114 degrees in Fillmore, right? So pick your exhaustion.
This is a better exhaustion. You're 100% right. Let's talk about next week. So you're flying into DC on Monday.
Yep.
And what's happening Monday? What are your plans on Monday?
It's funny is eat. I want to see what they got kind of over there to grub. Now, you know what I want to
do?
Did she
send you a list? She said she was going to send you a list.
I'm sure she's so busy right now, man. But I got people. But I was going to jump into that. I have people over there. So ASA, American Sport Fishing Association, is right down the street.
Oh, nice.
The Land Trust. The National. Oh my God, the park, National Park Trust. There's another land trust thing coming up this Friday here. The National Land Trust. They're up the street too, and everybody's right there in Virginia. So I think that's where it's at. So I'm not too far. So I'll try to connect with them. I got invited to breakfast from ASA from Russell. So if she's busy planning this gigantic,
I get that.
thing,
I do get that.
I get it.
But so Monday you're going to go visit people
Yep.
of that, and you're going to have a couple of lunches and
do a
lunch
little
meetings,
and maybe a little like let's just check out DC, man. Let me walk down and check that area out. Just go on walkabout. I'm not going to spend any time in my hotel.
No, get out there and see the world, man.
Recording it. I'm going to document this trip. But Monday, because you lose 3 hours. So by the time I get out there, it's like 3:30. So what can I do in an hour before they shut down? Catch a plus I'm going to be without a vehicle. So do I just shuttle around?
Sightsee, sight feed, whatever else you want to do. Okay, so that's Monday. Now Tuesday is the actual event, right?
Yep. So I'll be at the Reagan building, and I go on at like 1:15. They sent an itinerary out. I got 2 itineraries. I got the one I was just looking at from the Cal Chamber on Wednesday, but I don't want to get the 2 mixed up.
No, that's for sure. So 1:15 on Tuesday, you're going to be live.
Yep.
And this will be you live, or is this when the conference starts?
It's the panel. No, I think we're the third panel of the day. So they probably have one like at 9, and then one at about 11:30, and then another one at 1:15.
Because I'll post the links on the Rough Edge FM site, so you can click in and watch Kevin in action live from DC, and then hopefully we'll be able to download it and get some clips that we can play the following week on the podcast.
So this morning I was looking at my wardrobe though. I was like, okay, do I wear the Bass Pro shirt, to show them as a fisherman, or do I come in as my casual wear? So this morning, as I was looking at my tennis shoes, everything starts at the sneaker up. Right?
That's true.
I wear those sneakers. Which shirt is going to match those sneakers?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So and then I'll network around there, exchange business cards, and shake hands and kiss babies. And then Wednesday, unfortunately, I got to fly back early because I got to be in Sacramento.
Unfortunately, that's fortunate.
Well, I kind of wanted to spend the second day networking.
I know.
But
you got to go get an award.
So much Kevin to go around, right?
Yeah,
so then I fly into Sacramento Wednesday night, and I just called them to see if I could bring my brother to come out and check in on that. So
I bet they'll work that out for you.
Bring Ross Rebel, and he'll be there. And then Thursday, we'll fish a little bit in Sacramento River, depending on if he has to work or not. He's trying to get the day off. Tell him a celebrity's coming into town.
That's right.
But
my celebrity brother.
On short notice, he might not be able to. He's a truck driver, so
yeah.
But that's another thing. It's cool. My brother doing music. When I was listening to Nipsey Hussle a lot on Friday, and even though my brother likes to do music and what he's doing, now that he's got a pretty good gig like myself, and it makes it fun again. He could pick which venues he wants to MC and where he's at, and it doesn't have to just be based on his trying to make a living. So he's able to have fun on the weekends and pick the shows that he wants to either MC or do, and then make some tracks without it being such a pressure of winning, breadwinning. And then entertainment business and filmmaking and stuff, it's a different genre to really go in there and really make a living doing it.
It is. There's no question about that. Is your brother got YouTube channel or anything like that we could actually share? Or
Ross Rebel, yeah. That's where all of his all his music
and maybe
videos.
One of these days we'll insert a music video in here. You can just watch it via the podcast, because I'm sure he would give you permission to do that.
I don't even got to ask him, bro.
See, that's what I mean. Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
Ross Rebel. So I'll look for that on YouTube.
RAS, Ross Rebel, REBEL.
Okay.
So then
Sweet.
There's that aspect. And then Friday I come back, and I think I got a Kiwanis luncheon I got to go talk at. And then next Saturday, I'll also be at the Insect Festival. We're coming up on that. Remember we interviewed Brianne the other day?
I do.
Bree, remember I called her by her last name, Britt, and she's like, it's not.
She was a little confused. Yeah.
But so I'm sorry, Adriana. So I still messed up her name.
That's okay.
Adriana.
I knew who you were talking about.
Adriana Britt. She has this set up there. So me and I think Derek will be down there for that, but I'll have a headset on and I'll be doing the whole community Kev. I got to come in here and pull out a bunch of those little crustacean artifacts. So, and then after that weekend, then I'm ready to regular.
Go back to normal?
Yeah, I think
and normal's in quotes with him. It always is.
But for real, again, listening, everybody that's listening, normal just meaning that hopefully it's more of a 9 to 6 gig, with things to come up and doing more programming, being on the pier, being at EO Green, being and starting to do some more filming. So Monday's our film day, so we can jump on the boat and go out and do some work. And then now that there is summer school, how do we start incorporating, some of these programs to come out and do the floating laboratory thing that we haven't really pushed too far ahead yet? So we can do that. But again, that's where I love, man. The video Spencer special's up right now. If you got a chance to check it out, people. And that really showcases me on the other side of the camera, doing more talking, cutting fish and showcasing it. So it's time to take that and, that demo and then really start to maximize it with Thomas. And
Thomas is a pretty good guy. He's got his head together. He knows what he's doing, and he's got a good personality off camera, but also on camera.
Yeah. So he'll be able to, really fine tune our work. So I'm excited about that. So yeah, man. But for this next week, we'll be on the road, solidifying some partnerships. That's part of it. It
is.
And it was funny. I was talking to, and not to, hear this with pure humility. is that, I was on the pier teaching my guys because there's a level that I demand from our team.
Of
But it's
course.
but there's certain things that you guys can't do. I have to be Kev, right? So you can't stop and people and they're coming up and shaking your hand. So I need to count on you to do these things because there's only certain things that I can do,
Right.
that nobody on the company can do.
That's true.
And I have to be able to be free to do those things. And I'm able to, do that now,
Because
so,
you've got the staff to do it, and a good staff too.
yeah.
He always talks about his great team, and they are a great team of people. They really
All
are.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't be afraid to set a standard and hold people accountable, and keep it that way, as a leader. It's just a matter of how you do it and giving them the tools. And then that way you could reassess and say, hey, again, if, we're Navy SEALs out here. So what part of the log are you letting slump, If you can't handle it, then, hey, at least we know that now versus putting in, because I know somebody that was here that we kind of let that happen too long. And, unfortunately, because loyalty to people, and I'm not saying that, let me make sure I'm clarifying that. It's a matter of reassessing the task and duties of what the organization needs and saying, hey, do you fit into this model?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
This is where we're going now. This is the new, and are you coming on board? And do you see yourself fitting into this? It's just like any other team, right? Hey, look, this is the ownership. This is the direction we're going. You want to be on the offense or the defense? You want to coordinate, but the coordinators are running the plays. Can you man, like we had that talk, I think, if we break the huddle and we had 11 in the huddle and when we say, hi, can I throw the ball? And then you're on the sideline having a Gatorade, then it's like, well, you're running your own patterns and coming back at it because we want us to all win. Even these students that are leaving, Derek got a job as a security guard and it's like, bro, heck yeah. Do you need a letter support? Like get that job, man. It's not like, oh, you're leaving us and where are you going? No, it's really like, hey man, I know you're not going to be here forever. And, how do we help prepare you for the world that awaits you and for you to, but for them to go in being confident and dominating because people need that, like come in there with some sureness that you could handle the assignment,
They're grateful for what you've given them here. You're grateful for what they've helped you with. And like you say, once a guppy, always a guppy.
Yeah. So that's it, man. That's funny. We told them that when we give them their awards, it's like blood in, blood out. When you're in, you're in. But yeah, man, we have a lot going on. I'm super excited. Yeah, I might be a little tired and exhausted, but another week of this, and I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, I'm very excited for you going to DC. It's something that I don't know if it's been a lifelong dream for you, but it is certainly a highlight of the whole guppy experience.
I think my dream would be, honestly, since you're listening and you're bringing that up, when you call the shop and they say, sorry, Kevin is like at the in the Amazon rainforest filming, or he is at the Great Barrier Reef doing a little underwater filming for some exotic fish out there. Even Channel Islands, we got some video from there.
That's
but
true.
Some of my dreams are really like being emerged in my video stuff, man, like that. So but this could help transform that to the next level. That's what I'm saying, not miss the moment while we're there.
Right.
But if you want to talk about my dreams, man, it's really being hearing the sound of like peacocks in the morning, not peacocks, but like some crazy bird up while you're going through a little canoe. And if you don't, again, see how I visualize it, I could see it all. I'm in this little canoe filming and we're in this little jungle in South America with dirty brown water.
Swatting the mosquitoes.
Right, and you could hear these freaking, you know what I mean? And you're like, oh, what's up? You know what? The closest I got to that so far is when I was filming in the Everglades.
Oh, I believe that. I can see the similarity.
Everglades, and I remember thinking about LeVar Burton doing a piece down there about ecosystem, and they collected these little fish, a puffer fish, and there was a seahorse and like 2 or 3 others, and they were talking about healthy ecosystems and all that. So when I was in the Everglades, that's one of the closest to my dreams.
Cool.
And I didn't even think the audio was so terrible, so windy down there that we didn't really use much of the footage.
Audio's tough, especially with the wind.
But also we were flying, and the sound of it sitting in the front, but there's some under stuff. Maybe we'll go in there and edit that up. I'll give that to Thomas to. Or
put some music over it and use what you can use,
do that.
And you do have one more exotic location coming up because you're shooting an episode in Bishop, right?
We bumped that.
Oh, did you bump Bishop?
Yeah, we had to bump it, but we got our Santa Barbara one done, so we're still ahead of schedule on our episodes. But just logistically going to Leadership Academy, getting that award that week, and some other stuff, we had to bump it. So
Bishop next year, then. So we'll be on the schedule for next year,
or maybe in the fall when the colors are changing.
Yeah, that's a good
opener. We'll go out there for the closure or something.
Beautiful time.
And then another exotic location, I guess, is we're going to Orlando for ICAST, and we're like 50 days out, inside of 50 days. So
wow, very nice.
All right, well, I think that's going to do it. 30 minutes in. A recap. So again, laying these things out for you guys is just to showcase again what it goes through in the day-to-day, some of the journey of entrepreneur and a business and a solopreneur and building a built brand, an empire, a legacy, and what it really takes, behind the scenes stuff, not just the pictures on the gram.
Right.
But I do share that in my stories too, so people could see what you're going through and the growth and development, and bring them on the journey, not just the catching, not just the fish, but also the memories that we're catching along the way, and transitions that we're going through as a company.
And just keep it growing. It's growing and growing and growing, and that's awesome. My friend, you have a good time in DC next week. I'll be watching you live on the internet, which feels kind of weird, but I'll be watching Community Kevin live from DC in Ventura.
Community Kevin on Capitol Hill, baby.
Yeah.
All right, Barry, say let's go. Let's go.
To learn more about Real Guppy Outdoors, please visit www.communitykevin.com. Brought to you by AftCo Fishing Apparel and Tackle, designed to perform. Channel Island Sport Fishing, offering deep-sea fishing on quality sport fishing charter boats, and more. Costa Sunglasses. Discover life's greatest adventures with Costa. See what's out there. Daiwa. If you want innovation and quality in your fishing products, Daiwa has what you need. This has been a Rough Edge Studios production.